Come ride with us as we explore the story behind William Harley and the Davidson brothers. This is the history of Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Harley-Davidson motorcycles have gained worldwide fame for their power and adventurous spirit over the last century. But the story of Harley-Davidson extends beyond simply producing good, exceptional bikes. It embodies a strong attitude of resilience. Throughout wars, difficult times, and competition from other countries, Harley-Davidson has consistently demonstrated true American determination and a pioneering grit and spirit that refuses to be constrained. The brand symbolizes more than just motorcycles. It represents really the essence of Americana. Let's get into it. Now, born in the 1870s and 80s in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, William Harley and the Davidson brothers grew up next door to one another. They were first-generation Americans from immigrant parents and formed a close relationship while playing outside and tinkering with their bicycles. When only 14 and 15 years old, William Harley and Arthur Davidson both got jobs working in a bike factory. Harley worked on the assembly floor, learning how to assemble bike frames and fittings, while Davidson learned pattern making. From an early age, both of them were building the necessary skills to one day build a motorcycle empire. Now, bicycles were very popular, and while motorcycles did exist, they were mainly viewed as motorized bikes. The Handy Manufacturing Company, which eventually became Indian Motorcycles, was emerging in America to capitalize on this opportunity. In 1901, 20-year-old William S. Harley drew up plans for a small engine with a displacement of 7.07 cubic inches and 4-inch flywheels. He and his childhood friend Arthur Davidson spent the following 2 years working on their motor bicycle. Despite his enthusiasm for bike design, Harley could not dedicate all of his time to it. He was a mechanical engineering student at the University of Wisconsin and worked 2 jobs, one as a draftsman and the other as a restaurant waiter. For over 2 years, Harley enlisted friends Arthur and Walter Davidson to build a motor bicycle in a small 10-foot by 15-foot shed in the Davidsons' backyard. Although their prototype failed to climb hills without pedaling, they did find the experience valuable and were determined to improve upon it. Now, further development led to a 24.74 cubic inch single-cylinder 405cc engine, producing approximately 3 horsepower, mounted on a reinforced bicycle-style frame with pedals. Edward Hildebrand rode this Harley-Davidson prototype during the September 8, 1904 motorcycle race at the Milwaukee State Fair Park and finished in 4th place. This event marked the first documented appearance of a Harley-Davidson motorcycle in competition. In 1905, Harley-Davidson produced a limited run of the Model 1, with only about 16 units ever manufactured. Now, these early models were assembled in a small wooden shed, the company's first factory. This model marked a significant transition from prototype to commercial production for the fledgling motorcycle manufacturer. In 1906, they successfully moved their operations from a small wooden shed to a factory on Chestnut Street in Milwaukee. This location became the company's first official factory and remains the site of Harley-Davidson's headquarters to this day. Now, that year also marked a pivotal moment when William and brothers Arthur, Walter, and William Davidson officially incorporated the Harley-Davidson brand, laying the foundation for a legendary legacy. In its first year as a corporation, Harley-Davidson produced the Model 3, but they recognized that their bikes couldn't compete with Indian motorcycles regarding speed. But they knew their bikes would last over long distances, so they needed publicity. Walter Davidson entered the 1908 Federation of American Motorcyclists Endurance Run in New York, riding the Model 3 for 174 miles over dirt roads and rough terrain. Walter ultimately won first place in the race. This accomplishment marked Harley-Davidson's first major racing victory and significantly bolstered the company's reputation for producing reliable motorcycles. From this triumph, 150 Model 3s were made. All of them sold. Now, Harley-Davidson wasn't just building motorcycles, they were shaping an identity. But their journey, it wasn't really smooth. From fierce competition and economic downturns to war and reinvention, they had to fight for their place in history. What do you think was Harley-Davidson's biggest challenge? Was it the rise of Japanese motorcycles, the Great Depression, or a shift in biker culture? Drop your thoughts in the comments and keep watching as we dive into the twists and turns that defined this legendary brand. In 1909, Harley-Davidson released the Model 5D. Now, this model featured a 49.5 cubic inch or 811cc V-twin engine, producing about 7 horsepower, a significant increase compared to the single-cylinder models of that era. However, the Model 5D faced performance and reliability issues, leading to just limited production. However, Harley-Davidson still deeply believed in the potential of a V-twin engine. After years of design trial and error, they finally released the Model 7D in 1911, which proved to be a success. The model gained popularity among board track racers, and Harley-Davidson even sponsored a racing team known as the Wrecking Crew. They competed at one of the most dangerous tracks, the Motordrome, which was notorious for its steep 50-degree banking. Unfortunately, several racers lost their lives, and even audience members were struck by motorcycles, earning the track its grim nickname, the Murderdrome. Ultimately, Harley-Davidson decided that it was better to focus on racing on flat tracks. During Harley-Davidson's initial years, the company was viewed as a small motorcycle manufacturer catering to hobbyists. However, things changed when it sold motorcycles to government organizations like the police, the U.S. Postal Service, and the Army. This shift marked the start of their financial success and growing notoriety. In the summer of 1916, a pivotal moment in American military history arose with General John Blackjack Pershing's mission to capture the elusive bandit Francisco Pancho Villa. Known for his guerrilla tactics and swift movements, Villa evaded capture as his forces navigated the challenging terrain along the U.S.-Mexico border. Pershing sought innovation by partnering with Harley-Davidson, which supplied the U.S. Army with 12 specially designed motorcycles. Every bike had a sidecar and a machine gun turret, allowing troops to move more quickly than traditional cavalry. Though the campaign did not capture Pancho Villa, using motorcycles marked a significant movement in military history. These agile and reliable vehicles showcase the potential of motorized transport in warfare. With his unconventional methods using Harley-Davidson motorcycles, General Pershing's expedition remains an intriguing footnote in American history. Yet, Harley-Davidson quickly encountered its toughest rival, automobiles. Cars undeniably represented the future, and as Henry Ford progressively decreased the price of his Model T, it became financially similar to owning either a motorcycle or a car. The clear benefits of cars were its ability to carry multiple passengers while offering protection from rain and snow. So how did Harley and the Davidsons respond? Well, they delivered one of life's greatest business lessons. They built a brand around their image, advertising that while family men drove cars, the cool young men rode motorcycles. Harley-Davidson began selling apparel and accessories with their logo, fostering a sense of community among riders. This initiative helped create an entire subculture around being a biker. In 1917, after the U.S. entered World War I, Harley-Davidson obtained a contract to provide motorcycles for the U.S. military. By the war's conclusion, it estimated that the military utilized 20,000 motorcycles, most of which were Harley-Davidson Model J, which had a 61 cubic inch or 1,000cc V-twin engine. This contract confirmed the company's status as a motorcycle industry leader. In the 20s and 30s, Harley-Davidson introduced several new models and created the world's first overhead valve big twin motorcycle, known as the Knucklehead. Harley-Davidson also expanded its dealer network to reach customers nationwide, ultimately extending its presence to 67 countries across the globe. Now, then the Great Depression hit. During this challenging time, Harley-Davidson sales plummeted from 21,000 in 1929 to just 3,700 in 1933. To survive the remainder of the Great Depression, the company diversified by manufacturing industrial power plants. Interestingly, they were one of only two American motorcycle manufacturers to survive the Great Depression, the other being its rival, Indian Motorcycles. Now, during World War II, Harley-Davidson completely halted the production of civilian motorcycles to focus solely on supplying the military. They provided the WLA model, nicknamed the Liberator, which was designed to be combat-ready. An estimated 60,000 bikes were produced for the U.S. military, and the war proved beneficial for Harley-Davidson. After the war ended in 1945, thousands of men returned home with a newfound passion for speed. Many of these veterans also gained valuable engineering skills from their military service. The surplus Liberator bikes were sold at very low prices, leading many veterans to purchase and modify them by chopping off old parts and adding on new ones. This is where the term chopper actually originated. These GIs began to meet across the country, forming motorcycle clubs. During this time, the Harley-Davidson brand officially became a symbol of the American spirit, resulting in rapid growth for the company. The company quickly resumed production of some of its most popular pre-war models, like the Knucklehead and the Panhead. By this time, all the founders of Harley-Davidson were in their 60s and 70s. Despite their age, they were so passionate about the company that they chose not to retire. They began arranging their affairs to pass the company on to the next generation. By the 50s, all four of the Harley-Davidson original founders had passed away, leaving the company to their families. It remained privately owned for many years. Now, in the 50s, the cool young motorcycle owner's image turned dark. The American Motorcyclist Association's Gypsy Tour in Hollister, California, was meant to be a laid-back convention for motorcycle enthusiasts, but over 4,000 bikers took over the small town, drinking heavily and breaking out into a riot. When newspapers reported on the Hollister riot, it officially tarnished the reputation of bikers, which was very different to the ideal image of 1950s family life with the white picket fences. Now, one of the most infamous motorcycle clubs, the Hells Angels, was formed just a year after the riot. The club became notorious for violence, further solidifying the bad boy reputation of bikers. But despite the negative publicity, Harley-Davidson remained unaffected. In 1953, a film called The Wild One, starring Marlon Brando, brought the biker aesthetic to the big screen. This movie helped Harley-Davidson sales skyrocket. Soon afterwards, celebrities like Elvis and Clark Gable were seen riding Harleys, and it wasn't long before Harley-Davidson became an iconic American brand recognized worldwide. Harley-Davidson dominated the American motorcycle industry for much of the first half of the 20th century. In 1957, they released its Sportster model, which was considered the beginning of the modern-day cruiser. However, by the 60s, the U.S. began to see competition emerge when an influx of motorcycles came in from other countries. Honda launched a campaign to promote their bikes with the tagline, "You meet the nicest people on a Honda," which directly challenged the stereotypes associated with Harley-Davidson owners. And this strategy worked, and Japanese motorcycles became strong competitors, leading to a decrease in Harley-Davidson sales. In 1969, facing dwindling sales, the family sold Harley-Davidson to American Machine Foundry, or AMF, a sports manufacturing firm. AMF optimized production processes, introduced small displacement bikes, and eliminated what it considered surplus workers, which heavily affected Harley-Davidson motorcycle build quality at the time. However, a silver lining from the AMF period was the introduction of the model XR 750 in 1970. This motorcycle boasts more victories than any other bike in AMA racing, and is famously associated with Evel Knievel, who rode it during his daring stunts. After a period of reevaluation and producing lower-quality motorcycles that didn't really fit with the company's brand, in 1981, a group of passionate investors purchased the company of AMF for a staggering $80 million. Among these influential investors was Willie G. Davidson, the grandson of the co-founder William A. Davidson. Now, once the Davidson family regained control, Harley-Davidson transformed in remarkable ways. Under Willie's leadership, a renaissance surged through the production lines, and the quality of the motorcycle soared to new heights. Confronted by intense competition from rising Japanese manufacturers, Willie faced a significant challenge in leveling the playing field. He reached out to President Ronald Reagan, passionately advocating for tariffs on motorcycle imports exceeding 700cc. In a bold response, Reagan dramatically raised the import tax from a modest 4% to an astounding 49%. This sweeping tariff not only struck a heavy blow to Japanese motorcycle sales, but also created a fresh opportunity for American-made brands to flourish once again. The tariff was highly effective, allowing Harley-Davidson to go public in 1986 and thrive, consistently bringing in millions yearly. In the 1990s, the Fat Boy, designed by Willie Davidson, shot to fame after its appearance in Terminator 2 and quickly became a top seller. By 2006, Harley-Davidson celebrated record sales, moving over 260,000 motorcycles across the U.S. and reporting a remarkable profit of $1 billion. It seemed that they have tackled their challenges and were set to continue their success. In 2008, we bore the Great Recession, and many people reduced their spending, including the purchase of motorcycles. With an average price of about $20,000, a Harley-Davidson became less practical than owning a car. For most individuals, it was difficult to justify purchasing what was essentially a luxury item, and as a result, Harley-Davidson sales experienced a significant decline during the recession, and even years later, the company has not fully recovered. As millennials enter the workforce during a challenging economic time, many choose not to purchase a motorcycle. Consequently, the average age of Harley-Davidson owners has been gradually rising, resulting in an older core fan base. To address this issue, the company is implementing strategies to attract younger riders, including the introduction of an electric bike to expand its appeal. The future of Harley-Davidson in attracting a younger demographic is unclear, but this moment represents a valuable opportunity for growth and innovation. The company has a strong track record of overcoming challenges, which provides hope for its ability to adapt. Regardless of the outcome, it's clear that Harley-Davidson is an iconic American brand that has left a lasting legacy in history. Harley-Davidson's journey is one of resilience, reinvention, and an unbreakable bond with the open road. From a backyard workshop in Milwaukee to global recognition, the brand has shaped motorcycle culture. But what do you think? Will Harley-Davidson continue to dominate, or is the era of the classic American motorcycle starting to fade? Let us know your thoughts, and if you love the history of iconic motorcycles, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us in the next video. Ride safe and keep on cruising.